to the beautiful words of this prayer to the Forderite.
Spirit keeper of the East, you bring a new day. Show us the power of illumination when all of life is awakening. Free us from forms of ignorance and prejudice. Bring clarity to our lives, removing blinders and filling us with eagle courage, vision, and strength. We thank you for these blessings, Spirit Keeper of the East, and receive them for ourselves and all of our relations. Spirit Keeper of South, protector of land, life-giving soil. Come with your power of growth, bringing trust and intuition and the gift of maturity. Guide our families to joy, health, and happiness as caretakers of our Mother Earth. Teach us to listen to our inner child and restore magic to our lives. Spirit Keeper of the South, we receive with gratitude these blessings for ourselves and all of our relations. Spirit Keeper of West, home of Bear, clear away any fear of darkness as the sun sets. Bring before us the lessons of the day and the ways of earth that is ours to dream. Enlighten us to look within and find how comfortable and trusting we can be with the dark of the earth and our spirit world of dreams. Spirit Keeper of West, we thank you and receive these gifts for ourselves and all of our relations. Spirit Keeper of North, home of buffalo, season of winter and cold winds, our earth lies dormant, sending her strongest energy deeper and deeper. Enliven our spirit of renewal and persistence. Encourage us to be people of balance, be patient healers and protectors of creation. Spirit Keeper of North, we receive these blessings with gratitude for ourselves and all of our relations. Father Sky, your spirit surrounds Earth and all creatures with stars, planets, galaxies, and a constant display of cloud formations. Your unending kaleidoscope of color holds us in awe and gratitude for the marvelous canopy and umbrella of all godliness. Mother Earth, Mother Earth, forgive us all the harm we've done you, Mother Earth. Mother Earth, please give us time to make amends to you.
As we take our deep breaths, consciously breathing in and breathing out, we think of the oceans, waves coming in, waves coming out. We think of the rivers that rise, fall. Think of the marshes that fill with water as the tide comes in. Empty of the water till it goes out. You think of all of the beautiful life forms that live beneath the mud, within the marsh grasses, the beautiful beings that live beneath the ocean waters, the rivers, the creeks, the tidal pools, tributaries. All of the beautiful, beautiful earth that is fed with the water and the light We bless all of those who grow our food. Bless those making decisions about the way our food is grown, about the way our soil is cared for. We bless the air that we breathe. We bless those who are making decisions about what is being emptied into our air, into our rivers, into our soil. We bless those making the decisions about what is sprayed on our food. We bless those making decisions about how our earth is cared for. We bless our hearts and minds to know what is ours to do, the simple ways every day in our own homes, taking care of our bodies, our children, our gardens. Bless our hearts and minds and our creativity and our wisdom to open to continually the higher, more powerful ways to live our lives and to diminish the harm that we might do and increase the healing that we could bring. We bless the four-leggeds, the winged ones. Bless those who are making decisions of how to care for animals. In our own homes, in corporate farming. Bless our hearts and minds that all life can be given the opportunity to create the world to work for all. As we take our deep breaths in, breathe our breaths out, we hold in a prayer of healing all of our beloveds. And if you feel comfortable doing so, speaking their names out loud or holding them in your hearts. We deepen into the core of our being and feel our own wholeness. We feel ourselves being embraced by that one presence, known by many names. And we see our beloveds near and far, those living in physical, those living in non-physical. We see them held in the same loving presence, always and forever. We are surrounded and embraced by love. And we give thanks for remembering this. And we say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste. Up just 1 degree. There it goes. It did it on its own. Thank you for that beautiful prayer. Beautiful prayer. She brought that to us from Springbank. A lot of us know Springbank out in Hemingway. King Street. I get them confused. Out near King Street. A lot of us have done we did our board retreat out there. We did the lawn dance out there. It's a beautiful place. Thank you for that prayer. Thank you to all of us for the prayer that we hold in our hearts, for our world to be blessed and healed and renewed and regenerated, and we may feel at times discouragement or frustration that we can't do enough, and yet we do enough when we simply do our part. Right? And our part, as we know, me included, to do our personal work so that we can stay more often connected with our core, our center of peace and well-being. And if I feel myself getting tilted, which you may not believe this, but on occasion I get tilted. We tilt, and so we bring ourselves back to center. There's a lot of different ways we do that. We're talking a lot about Earth Day, about taking care of our Earth, and some of us feel that, oh no, I did not know I'm changing. Right before your eyes I'm changing, actually. Well, y'all just got the whole talk, so listen to the CD. Y'all going out to the beach, and so we're talking a lot about the way we can care for the earth and the way we care for our bodies, and it's all tied in and related, and we can't really separate one from the other. We all got that by now? Okay. So, I command you to stay still. So this is a photo of an astronaut outside of the spacecraft. I was thinking, some of my friends have walked on fire. I have jumped off 40-foot cliffs and telephone poles. I'm not sure I would have the nerve to do that. I'm glad he did it, not me. This is a gentleman named Rusty Schweikert. A lot of you know his story in 1969. This is from Matthew Fox's book, The Coming of the Cosmic Christ. And he recounts this story that this NASA astronaut was let out of the capsule, and he was hanging on an umbilical cord. And it says usually NASA keeps one compulsively busy up there, lest a mystical experience might perhaps break through. But a peculiar and indeed synchronistic thing happened to Schweikert. Just as he emerged from the capsule, something went wrong. Both Mission Control in Houston and the remaining astronauts had to concentrate on the problem. This left Rusty all alone, floating in silence around Mother Earth, complete cosmic silence. During this time, Rusty had two profound conversion experiences, both of which, Matthew Fox says, I believe, were cosmic awakenings to compassion. Matthew Fox goes on to write about, if one human being awakens to the depths of compassion, that it makes it easier for the rest of us to do so. You see how long I've had this book? Hold on to those pages, sweetie. They have the answers to the universal questions. I actually saw Matthew Fox recently. I got this book about 25 years ago when it first came out. Some of you heard this story. I went to Sophia Institute in Charleston, took a workshop with him a few months ago, and I asked him to sign my book. And he was flipping through the book. If you could see it, it's like a Bible. I mean, it's dog-eared, underlined, notes in the margins. I have used it kind of like a Bible. And he just sat quietly looking at it, and I thought, he's one of those purists who think you shouldn't write in books. I just know it, and I've just showed you what I've done in this book. And then he looked up at me, and he had tears in his eyes. He said, do you know what it does for an author to see how well read and loved their book is? Oh! Okay, so he looked back, Rusty Schweikert looked back on Mother Earth, a shining gem against a totally black backdrop. He described it this way, and he said, I realized everything I cherished was on that gem. My family, my land, my music, all of my human history, with its folly and its grandeur. He said, I was so overcome with love that I wanted wanted to hug and kiss my planet like a mother does her firstborn child. Mother love, compassion swept through me, perhaps for the very first time. Trained as a jet fighter, Schweikart was the typical macho man, but a breakthrough of his own powers of maternity came washing over him at that moment in space. All the pent-up power of compassionate maternal energy. And he asked later, imagine what might happen if these vast reservoirs of incredible power and compassion were unleashed in all men, women, nations, corporations, institutions of the West and the East. Schweikart's second awakening in space was a political one. He described himself as a red, white, and blue American who believed he had always been what he had always been taught, that the world is divided between the communist world and the free world. Again, this was 1969. And yet, while floating around Mother Earth, Schweikart saw that rivers flowed indiscriminately between Russia and Europe. That ocean currents served communist, socialist, and capitalist nations alike. That clouds did not stop at borders to test for political ideology. And that there are no nations. Yes, John Lennon, I hear you. There are no nations. Nations exist in the mind of the human race. It is nations that spend $1 million a minute on weapons, and they have no existence or purpose except what we human beings decide they have. Interdependence is the only true, real thing. So, do we have to hang on an umbilical cord in space to realize that? To have the kind of compassion for our Mother Earth that Chief Seattle talked about. And I'm so glad to see you here today, Miss Janice, because you gave me this a few months ago. She framed Chief Seattle's speech, put it in a frame for us. We're going to hang it here at the church.
Thank you.
But I wanted to read a few things from it. It's a very famous speech. A lot of you have heard it. But it's so Chief Seattle. This is the only known picture of him. And at this point, he was at the end of his life, worn out, tired of fighting with the white people in Congress who were deciding the fate of his people. This is what he wrote, and it has become the call for the environmental movement. The great chief in Washington, he's talking about the President of the United States, the great chief in Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land. The great chief also sends us words of friendship and goodwill. This is kind of him, since we know he has little need of our friendship in return, but we will consider his offer. How can you buy or sell the sky or the warmth of the land, Chief Seattle asked. The idea is strange to us. If we do not own the freshness of the air and the sparkle of the water, how can you buy them? Every part of this earth is sacred to my people. Every shining pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every clearing and every humming insect is holy in the memory and experience of my people. The sap which courses through the trees carries the memories of my people, So when the great chief in Washington sends word that he wishes to buy our land, he asks much of us. This we know, Chief Seattle says, all things are connected. Sound familiar? Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. Let's take a deep breath on that. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. But we will consider your offer to go to the reservation you have for my people. We will live apart, and we will live in peace. One thing we know which the white man may one day discover: our God is the same God.
Oh.
You may think now that you own him as you wish to own our land, but you cannot. Our God is the God of all humankind, and his compassion is equal for the red man and the white. This earth is precious to him, and to harm the earth is to heap contempt on the Creator. The whites too shall pass, perhaps sooner than all other tribes. Continue to contaminate your bed, and you will one night suffocate in your own waste. He wrote this in 1854. But in your perishing you will shine brightly, fired by the strength of the God who brought you to this land and for some special purpose gave you dominion over my people. That destiny is a mystery to us, for we do not understand when the buffalo are all slaughtered, the wild horses all tamed, and the view of the ripe hills blotted by talking wires. Where is the thicket? Gone. Where is the eagle? Gone. And what is it to say goodbye to the swift pony and the hunt? For my people, the end of living and the beginning of survival. So we will consider your offer to buy our land. If we agree, it will be to secure the reservation you have promised. There, perhaps, we may live out our brief days as we wish. And when the last red man has vanished from the earth and his memory is only the shadow of a cloud moving across the prairie, these shores and forest will still hold the spirits of my people. For they love this earth as a newborn loves its mother's heartbeat. So if we sell our land, love it as we have loved it. Care for it as we have cared for it. Hold in your mind the memory of the land that is as it is when you take it. And preserve it for your children and love it as God loves us all. One thing we know, our God is the same God. This earth is precious to him. Even the white man cannot be exempt from the common destiny. We may be brothers after all. We shall see. Sobering words, pertinent words, over 100 years later. And Chief Seattle was right. How many of you who have moved to this area have, in your empathic sensitivity, your intuitive awareness, you can feel the spirits of the first peoples and the African Americans who were brought here as slaves? Many of us have had our experiences and felt the energy of the people who were here before us. Their spirits soaked into the land, their blood, tears, their prayers, and after we're all gone, our prayers, our spirit We are absolutely interdependent. We don't need an Earth Day to remind us of that, but it is a good time to pause and reflect. That which holds us as we float through multiverses is our mother. And what we do to her, we do to ourselves. So, the daffodil principle. You need to know this as you go through life. And if you already know this story, it's a good one to review. How many of you have seen this daffodil field in California? I know some of you must have. Yes. The daffodil field. It's 5 acres. And it is, see, I had another picture, didn't I? Yes, there it is. And here it is up close and personal. And this little sign sits on the front porch of the little house of the woman who planted all these bulbs. She says, I know all the questions you're asking, so here's the answers. 50,000 bulbs. One at a time, by one woman, who had 2 hands and 2 feet. And she said, a very little brain. And she says it began in 1958. It's become known as the daffodil principle. Again, the environmentalist community have seized on this, that what can we do in our one little life? We can do simple things like turn off the faucet when you're brushing your teeth. Gallons and gallons of water are wasted when we just run into water. My grandchildren now get on David because he lets the water run when he brushes his teeth. I said, honey, one day your grandchildren are going to get you on that. Now they are. Granddad! That's one little thing. Or one little thing of recycling like Corbin showed us yesterday. One little thing. One little thing. Plant a tree. One little thing. Get an heirloom tomato plant downstairs and grow some alive food in your garden. Every day I make sure I have a little bit of alive food out of my garden. It's not much. A little parsley, a little oregano, a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of Swiss chard, some alive energy. I'm grateful to get organic food now. It's so much easier than it used to be. Are we grateful for that? Mm-hmm. And in our gardens, we can grow a little pot of parsley, grow a little pot of tomatoes, get some alive food. It's worth it. When we get discouraged and frustrated and asking, what can we do? There's so much to do to help our Mother Earth. Remember the daffodil principle. Just do one little thing. Just do one little thing. And then one little thing gets added to another little thing. If you don't have a yard to plant a tree in, then buy a tree in honor of something and give it to someone who does have a yard. Plant something living, alive. So I'd like to tell you a few little stories about a few little tiny experiences. We've all had so many of them with the way nature talks with us and works with us if we're paying attention. Some of us, like me, I have had from time to time a hard head, and I don't see all of the signs and wonders around me. You've never had that experience, I can tell you. What? Oh, it's...
Go ahead.
Okay, so when we had the Healing Center in North Florida, we bought it in 1983, and we started work on this 14 acres with a little lake and lots of oak trees like they have out at Brook Green, and we were living the dream. 5 of us wanted to create this healing center in North Florida. We had it together for 8 years, but we were there for about a week, stirring around, moving into this 2-story old saltbox, Connecticut saltbox house, built in 1926. And longleaf heart of pine, we had to drill a hole before we could nail a nail into it. It was wonderful work. We didn't have a clue how to take care of the land. One day, a woman named Granny Watley rolls up in her little station wagon, and she says, I hear you people have taken over this place. She says, I've known this place since it was built. I knew the people who lived here before this house was built. I'm Granny Watley. And I knew, my wisdom told me to say, yes, ma'am. Granny Watley opened up the back of her station wagon, and she started pulling out herbs. Said, you're going to need these for your garden. She pulled out little cuttings of rosemary and oregano and mint. And then she pulled one out that was all wrapped up. It was kind of secret, mysterious. She opened it up. She said, this one. She handed it to me. There were 4 other people. There's, you're going to need this one. It's comfrey. She didn't know at that time that the specific healing power of comfrey was what my body needed. If you're paying attention, universe works with you and brings to you what you need. And I needed a live comfrey leaves for about a year in my life. And it helped me move through a medical situation. And she was a stranger to me. She came right up to me. And you're going to need this. That was Granny Watley. Granny Watley spread the news around that people had taken over the old Lake Como Lodge. These people were taking it over, and they were doing stuff over there, and they needed some help. So a few days later, John Scott rolls up in his old station wagon. And he had bags in the back of that station wagon that he called mineral dust. And he had a mine in New Mexico from which he extracted this mineral dust, made big bags of it up, and he brought it to us. He said, you're going to need this mineral dust. And we said, really? He said, you're going to want to put this around your big oak trees, and you're going to put this in your garden. And you're going to have earthworms a whole lot quicker than you might have had them before. And he said, and you're going to want earthworms. I said, we are? He said, oh, yes. You're going to need earthworms to grow organic vegetables. So we're going to grow organic vegetables. Oh, yes. You're going to grow organic vegetables, and you're going to put this mineral dust all over your gardens, and you're going to have healthy organic vegetables. I said, we are? He said, oh, yes. And we did. We had so many healthy vegetables. This mineral dust, he instructed us, you're going to want to go around all your oak trees, and you're going to dig a little hole about 2 feet deep, and you're going to empty this mineral dust into the holes. And it's going to save those oak trees. I said, it is? He said, oh, yes. Then we had the tree people out. The tree guy said, you're going to need to take down all these old oak trees. And we said, but we have mineral dust. He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. You need to take these trees down, or you're going to be in trouble. Well, we dug holes and we put the mineral dust around the oak trees. As far as I know, they're all still standing except one. And that's the one I want to tell you about. Grandmother Oak. We formed a circle around Grandmother Oak. Imagine one of those big oak trees at Brook Green Gardens. Oak Alley, big oak trees. Big limbs touching the ground. And we gathered around her. And we said, here's the deal. We don't want to take you down, but they're telling us we need to. But you stay as long as you want, but you tell us when you're ready to come down. Just a normal conversation with the oak tree. You let us know when you're ready for us to take you down, and we'll take you down. But in the meantime, we want to live with you. You're Grandmother Oak. You hold the history of this place. And so about 6 years go by. Grandmother Oak, she's still with us. And we're getting ready for a wedding in the backyard. There's going to be 90 people there. And we're cleaning up the yard. There's an outdoor wedding. Everything's lovely. We all come in for lunch. We're all sitting around the dining table. And suddenly we hear this boom. 10 minutes before, we had all been outside underneath the Grandmother Oak. One of her branches, which was as big as a normal, regular tree, had fallen. It made a huge indentation in the earth. And we all, this was pretty unusual, we all sat silent when we realized that 6 years earlier we had told Grandmother Oak, please tell us when you're ready to come down. If that had happened the next day, it would have been a very sad story with 90 people in the backyard. She let us know when it was time to take her down. We called the tree guy. We said, remember that tree you looked at 6 years ago? She's ready to come down. Can you come today? I mean, really, today? We cleaned up the back, we had firewood to give away. It was one little story of how our Mother Earth, how nature, how the trees, how the plants, how the kingdom of nature works and collaborates with us if we'll listen. That's just one little story. What is mine to do to help take care of the earth? Because you see, there are secrets, there are mysteries. Can I have that right now? The secrets of the earth. We haven't even learned yet all the secrets of the earth. But we're so busy making decisions about drilling, offshore drilling, about pipelines, about the sprays we put on our food. We're so busy doing things to the earth that we're not paying attention to still the mysteries. This is a mine in Mexico where the crystals are so huge that this, can you see the man standing in the corner? And this mine is normally flooded with water, but right now the mining company is pumping the water out so that the scientists can keep going in. They can only stay in about 20 minutes with special gear because it's about 136 degrees Fahrenheit. We don't even know the mysteries of the earth. And then let's talk about the mysteries of the ocean. We do not know yet the mysteries of the ocean. We think we do, we don't. And here we are making decisions about the earth that sometimes are so unkind that what are we doing? We're destroying our own nest. We're destroying our own home. So today, we want to pause and take a breath and remember that we don't have to figure it all out. We simply want to pray or open our hearts and minds asking, just simply, what is mine to do today? Circle around an oak tree and say a prayer and ask, what shall we do? What shall we do today? Plant a little tomato plant. What shall we do? What shall we do today? Go to a river or a lake somewhere and do prayers for the water. What shall we do today?
Make some soap.
We make some soap. We'll make some soap. We'll make some eye pillows. We'll plant a garden. We'll have a little potted plant in our windowsill. Do what is ours to do today with the prayerful awareness that our prayers make a difference for the earth. Some of you know Lindsley Field, her teacher, beautiful painted arrow, says the earth is my teacher. It's how much he pays attention. The earth is my teacher. So let's take a deep breath. Close our eyes if that feels comfortable for you. We are continuing to open our hearts and minds. We're not done yet. We're not finished. We're not fully complete in our understanding. We're not fully complete in our awareness. We keep getting called over and over and over in many, many different ways to deepen into our own core of light and brilliance and wholeness, and to make our decisions from that place. We're simply not finished yet. Our thinking still gets clouded sometimes. Our emotions still run too hot sometimes. Our decision making is still not in complete understanding and awareness. We're just simply not finished yet. We make yet another commitment to keep our hearts and minds open to knowing what is my next step, what is my next decision. To care for my body, my garden, my family, my community, my earth, my world. What is mine to do? And like our brother, the astronaut, we open our hearts and minds to feeling the compassion, so much love for our Mother Earth, like a mother for her child.